Notice what it says in verse 24. Jesus did not commit himself unto them because he knew all men. I'm talking about how he knows everything. He's omniscient. He is the God-man. Verse 25, he needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man. What did he know that was in man, in the head and heart of man? Well, his omniscience allowed him to know that there's intellectual pride in us. Not only that, but he understood that there was a security in our social standing. That's what's in man. If you have some kind of social standing and respect of others, you feel pretty secure. I mean, after all, you can get on the phone and call so-and-so and he can help you out of a situation. You yourself have some social standing. You've helped others. Now you've got some contacts. It's a sense of security. It's an earthly grace, but that can be a little bit deceptive because really there's not a lot of security in it. That's what's in the heart of man: intellectual pride, security in social standing, a sense of security in religious posturing. He knows all that stuff's in the heart of man. People are pretty impressed with the guy that gets to stand behind the pulpit, or they're impressed with the people that lead in public prayer. After all, so-and-so has faith in that person to call on that person to lead in prayer, and they're articulate enough. And sometimes, depending on what's going on in the heart of a person, all that can just be sometimes vanity and religious posturing. It's a type of Pharisaicalism. So what is in man? What does he know is in man? There is intellectual pride in us. And I remind you what Proverbs 6 says, that God hates a proud look. Things that God hates: intellectual pride, a sense of security in social standing, a security in religious posturing, and Pharisaicalism. Why do I believe that he knew all of those things were in the heart of man from this text? Here's why. Because John chapter 3 begins to describe a Pharisee named Nicodemus. And all of those things were in Nicodemus. Nicodemus had intellectual pride and security in social standing and security in religious posturing and had a bunch of Pharisaicalism. And what does Jesus say to that man and timelessly to us? He says, "You must be born again." That's what he says. He knows what's in your heart. Your spouse doesn't know. Your children maybe don't know. The people closest to you at your place of employment, they don't know. But God knows. And if you're not saved, you must be born again. And if you are saved and you struggle with a lot of things in your heart, maybe you ought to pray Psalm 139, 23 and 24 there, where the psalmist says, "Search me, O God, and try me." Like, what a request. Your whole life you spend trying to make sure nobody knows all the things going on in your heart. You'd be embarrassed if the whole church heard about the realities of what you ruminate on. I'm saying, what a request for the psalmist to say, "Search me and try me and see if there be any wicked way in me." The God of this Bible, he knows what's in our head and in our heart.